Scientists ripped a hole into this fish and watched thousands of cells mobilize instantly to repair it. 8 hours later, the wound was gone. No scar, no infection, like it never happened. But there aren't enough cells near a wound to rebuild that much tissue that fast. The math simply doesn't add up. So what is happening here? And how did turning these fish into living neon signs solve the mystery? First of all, let's be clear. The moment that skin breaks, the clock starts ticking. Bacteria, fungi, and parasites, they are already there, looking for a way in. If that barrier isn't restored fast enough, the fish will rot from the inside out. So healing fast is a matter of life or death. If the fish is going to survive this, it needs reinforcements immediately. But from where? Problem is, to figure that out, you'd have to track every single cell at once while the fish is moving, which is impossible, unless you change the rules of the experiment. The team built a zebrafish where every skin cell glows green. Then they engineered a microscope that could capture all of them, roughly 60,000 cells, simultaneously while the wound was happening. For the first time, they could watch an organism seal itself shut, and what they saw made no sense. The wound wasn't healing evenly. Cells were flooding in from some directions and barely moving from others. Healing had a direction, but why would that be? What is different about one side of a fish versus another? The experiments kept pointing to the same place, the fins. But fins are for swimming. They have nothing to do with skin repair, or so everyone assumed. There was only one way to know for certain. Scientists had to build a new fish. Body skin cells, green. Fin skin cells, red. Game time. Same wound, now watch. Red cells are winning completely. Even when the fin isn't touching the wound, even when it's only nearby, an entire sheet of cells flows out from the fin, like a living fabric, sliding across the body. 3.9 micrometers per minute for 8 straight hours. These cells can do this by growing tiny grappling hooks that latch onto the surface and pull forward. And they don't wait for a leader. Every single cell in the fin sheet sprouts these hands. And here's the number that changes everything. Of all the skin cells in a fin, 55% shifted position. That's more than half the entire organ, mobilized. Imagine an entire city block relocating non-stop, responding to an emergency it can't even see. But wait, did you notice that the green body skin cells were moving too? Slower, sure, but moving to heal the wound. Which raises the question, how important is this fin actually for healing the wound? The team had no choice but to build another fish. This time, no fins. The result? Fish without fins can still heal, but something changed. And I'm not talking about their swimming. Healing slowed by 13%. In a lab, that's a nice statistic, but bacteria don't care about good-looking percentages. For them, 13% is the difference between closing in time and infecting. So the fin isn't back up. It's essential for the fish, which means there has to be something fundamentally different about fin cells. Something that makes them faster and more responsive. You'd assume the secret is inside the cell, some special fin cell protein, some genetic upgrade. But it's not. The secret is what they're standing on. See, body cells grow on hard calcified bone. But fin cells? They sit on something else entirely. A thick specialized layer loaded with a protein called laminin. And not a little more, 5,700% more. And here's the paradox. Laminin doesn't heal wounds. It doesn't even know wounds exist. It's a structural protein. But what it does is prime the cells. It tells it constantly, before an injury even happens, you are mobile, you are ready. When the wound signal finally arrives, those cells don't need to prepare. They're already in a permanent state of readiness. And when you remove laminin, everything collapses. Those tiny hooks don't form anymore. There's no migration. the fin loses its superpower and becomes just another slow piece of skin. This is the mechanism that's keeping the fish alive right now. Remove laminin and the fish loses. So, okay, the fin sends out an emergency wave of cells. They cross the body, they close the wound, and then, well, then what? What happens to those cells after they've closed the wound? Scientists had to build the ultimate fish, one where cells could be followed over a long period of time, where cells were marked with a barcode made of unique colors, like a fingerprint. Then they made a wound and watched again. Scientists tracked the wound for weeks, then months, then a full year. They assumed the fin cells were just a temporary patch. But a year later, those fin cells were still there. They changed their identity and became the body. Think about what that means. Those cells left their origin, crossed into foreign tissue, took on a new role, and never went back. In every meaningful sense, they chose the organism over themselves. Now ask a different question. If a zebrafish fin can do that, what are the cells in your arms and legs capable of? Because laminin isn't only fish biology, it's in you as well. Right now, in every tissue you have, the machinery is already there. You can find a full research article linked below. Okay, so the zebrafish wins by outrunning death. But what happens if you get attacked before you're even born? Well, watch this video to see how a fly embryo fights back.